That guy is a little younger than everyone I've been seeing. That guy looks like he might be a hitman, like a Russian hitman. And he might have just killed somebody. And he's just confidently, kind of quietly walking. But I think he murdered somebody. Or he's heading over to murder somebody. There's a murder involved with that guy. I'm a person that just likes to ask questions. I don't really have a sense of self. I just like to suck from people.
You just like to what people?
Suck from people.
Suck from people. You should be careful about how you say that. Like,
right.
be taken in the wrong way.
It can sound like sexual, you mean?
Well, yeah, like sucking someone off.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, not that.
No, not
that's
weird.
too loving.
Yeah, way too much.
It's also gay. I'm not gay. No offense against gay people.
Yeah, no offense.
No, but I mean it like in a parasitical way.
You crave knowledge.
Yeah. And I also like the idea of not only getting someone's knowledge, but hopefully taking it from them.
Uh-huh. So you're kind of like, what's his name? Short Circuit.
I haven't seen that.
No?
I've heard of that. What is
the film from the 80s, the robot, he was always craving knowledge?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Who were the stars of that thing?
Oh, I don't know.
Martin Short or something? No.
Who was it? Yeah, him.
Oh, Steve Guttenberg? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember he was in that movie about the aging people, the people that got old. With Raquel
Cocoon,
Welch.
fantastic film.
Right, that was really good.
And same guy in Police Academy.
Yeah. Yes, and Diner.
That's it.
Remember Diner? Diner you should rent that as a classic from like.
I don't remember Diner.
Steve, Mickey Rourke. How do you say his name? Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Do you know him? He starred in The Wrestler a few years ago. He was nominated. He was in that, and it was a very good movie. Barry Levinson directed.
You've been in films, haven't you?
No, not to my knowledge.
Didn't you do something with funny people?
Oh, that's right. I was edited out.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah. But they edited that scene out. They cut parts of that scene out. But I'm in the credits though.
Yeah.
So.
Bastards.
But they didn't edit me out of the credits.
Well, that's something. Throws people off like me who actually does their research.
Right.
Sees you in the credits. You've been in that film, actually? No.
Right.
So what were you doing? I know there was like a bit in a comedy club.
Oh, that was attached to the movie. That thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he recorded that and he aired it on Comedy Central. He would introduce, him and Adam Sandler, Judd Apatow would introduce those comedians, and they recorded us performing, and that would air on Comedy Central, but that wasn't actually in the movie.
Huh. What was your bit then? What did they cut out?
We were just playing basketball. We were all playing together, Seth Rogen, Sandler. It was a scene where Adam was playing basketball, but there wasn't even any dialogue. So it sounds better. I like saying I was cut out actually sounds better than the truth. The truth is I was really never really in. I was just playing basketball.
When you meet people like Seth Rogen, do you get a bit jealous? Do you think, bastard?
Yeah.
Well, so much happened for that guy so quickly, and at such a young age as well.
Yeah, I do get. But he was a very nice guy. I mean, he was a nice guy. And then actually he did stand up. I didn't realize it. Like at 13, that's what it says on YouTube. If you YouTube him, you could see him doing stand-up at the age of 13.
That's crazy.
And I thought he was good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he had a sense of self. Like, he was present. No, I couldn't have done that. I don't think. Who knows? But I mean, but yeah, I get jealous. But on the other hand, these people are driven and organized. I'm not quite as organized and as ambitious. I'm ambitious in just the way I intellectually would like to do it. But in terms of doing the hard work of achieving something, I don't think I have that ambition.
Really? I disagree, because you've been on, Letterman 5 times?
Yeah.
That's kind of a big achievement.
Yeah, I've done some. Yeah, there were good things. Yeah, that's true. I guess I am too hard on myself. Maybe I'm just stupid.
A little bit stupid, a little bit hard on yourself.
Right.
More hard on yourself, I'd say. You don't come across as stupid.
Right, yeah, I'm not that stupid. Yeah, I guess hard on myself. Yeah, what I've accomplished I don't focus on. What I haven't is what I focus on. The glass half full, glass half empty. Which reminds me of a joke I've always wanted to try to get to work was, I'm like they say, do you see the glass half full, the glass half empty? I'm a super pessimist. I look at the glass really close and say, I think it's actually 51% empty.
51%?
Empty, yeah, just slightly more than half.
Why is that?
Because I'm super negative. Like the average negative person would say half empty. But I say 51% empty.
Do you think that relates to anything in your past? Has something happened?
Yeah, I think I was just, I think my negativity relates to the fear of, it protects me. Because if you're super negative, then if bad thing happens, it won't shock you because you're prepared for it. And I think that's what it is. It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
I was ruled with fear. My mother was I was an only child, super overprotective mother. And women in general, mothers are more fearful, I think, than fathers. My father he worked nights and slept during the day. So I didn't have that much male energy. And he was fearful anyway. Even the male energy he had wasn't all that. And then my mother's mother, my grandmother, also super fearful. So I was raised by two terrified women. And they imparted their fears into me. But they also said how my mother was, you're the best, but be careful, be careful. So I have this narcissism of thinking I'm the best, but at the same time, I'm like frightened to do anything.
That's kind of weird because you don't come across as someone who has like an ounce of fear. I mean, going up and doing stand-up, you've got to be fairly fearless to do that, no?
Right, I guess, yeah. I think I'm just full of shit.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Again, I'm not looking at what I can do.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the things I'm afraid of.
Yeah, I should be your coach. I'm
Right,
kind of sensing this. You need someone like me over your shoulder.
You're right, totally.
Yeah, go on, you can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I know you mentioned your dad as well. He was quite different from you, wasn't he? Because I read somewhere that he used to go to a comedy show and heckle comedians.
Yeah, I told that to someone recently. Yeah, my father's sister told me that, my Aunt Bella. Yeah, he would heckle Martin and Lewis. I don't know if you heard of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Were famous American comedians. And
not Dean Martin.
The singer. He
singer.
He was a singer, but they joined up and formed a comedy team.
Oh, okay.
But then they broke up after 10 years. They were huge in America, like in the 40s and 50s. And then you heard of Jerry Lewis? He was a big movie star.
Yeah.
So Jerry Lewis became a movie star, and Dean Martin became also a movie star and a singer. But they were a comedy team for a while, and they used to play the Copacabana. And I heard that my father would, after work, he was a pharmacist, would go and sit in the back and heckle them.
What kind of heckles?
I don't know. I wish I had asked she didn't know. I wish I would have known. But it's ironic that my father was a heckler, and I'm a comedian.
And what's the process that you go through when you get an idea? How does that idea translate to something which is funny that you do on stage? What's the process? Or do you just go up there and hope for the best?
Yeah, you hope for the best, but you kind of learn. Well, the crowd tells you if it's funny or not, and then also, but through trial and error of trying so many jokes at all the different time, you can learn certain things, procedures, techniques that make jokes better in general. You learn things about a famous comedian. I forgot who he was. He once said the last thing you ever learn in comedy is timing. The thing that you really learn.
Was that George Carlin who said that?
Carlin,
I mean.
I don't remember. It might have been him or Bob Hope.
Yeah.
It's ironic timing. You'd think timing shouldn't come so late because it's timing.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is that I've noticed that too, where to pause while you're telling the joke to make it conversational, to make it like you're not telling a joke, to make it like Gary Shandling is a well-known American comedian once said to me, you have to make it like doesn't seem like a joke, like you're just talking. Because that tricks the audience.
Larry Sanders Show, that guy.
Yeah. Larry Sanders, yeah. And he's great at that, like just being natural, totally present and natural. That's one thing, but also the timing of where you pause. To this other comedian, Rich Jenny, he was a very good comedian. He would talk about you're drawing images in the people's brain. It's like a cartoon in their brain. So your word choice has to create an image in their head. But then you also have to learn where to pause to let those images set in.
Yeah.
One of my weaknesses was I used to talk too fast. I didn't let the images set in. And I would think the joke wasn't funny. Well, the joke was fine. I just wasn't pausing correctly. So that was a big thing. Then also wording, like you want to have not too many words, but on the other hand, you don't want to just be like a robot and have the least amount possible either.
Yeah.
You want to have the amount of words that fits you as a person.
It's all about balance, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Well, it's a real science, and I'm amazed that I keep getting a little better at it the more I do it. You would think, and there are some people that just are really good from the beginning, and maybe that Seth Rogen's a guy who's a good example, but this comedian Jonathan Solomon, I saw an old tape of him like from 1979 when he was in college. It's on YouTube, and he was just starting, and he was just as good then as he ever became. He had it all. Whereas with me, it was this like slow progression of continually getting just like a little better. Again, I'm looking at the negative. I should be happy that I kept getting better.
Yeah.
But it's weird that I keep getting, I think because I was such a frightened child, I was afraid to be a person and grow. And I've noticed the more I grow as a person, the better I get as a comedian. an acting teacher once said, I'll never forget that, he once said, you bring to the stage what you are in life.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truth to that. I was terrified about going to Edinburgh last summer. I did Edinburgh because I knew it was a 4-week thing. It was a lot of investment in money, but also it's just 4 weeks away from home. And I was just scared. But doing that not only it helped me become a better person because I conquered a fear of like, even though I have gone other places in the past, but I don't know, it just scared me. Going here for 8 months now, I think it wakes you up as a person, especially a guy like me who's just naturally afraid of change. So I think if you grow as a person, then your act gets better.
Is it not more scary doing TV gigs? Because you've got millions of people watching, you've got 5 minutes, it's a fairly staged environment. And if you go, down the pan, that could have a really big impact on your career. Is that not more scary than doing something like Edinburgh?
It is. It totally is. I'm much more comfortable doing Edinburgh because you get an hour. It's your show. There's not 5 million people watching. Luckily for me, it was only an average of 2 people a night. No, I'm joking. No, I had a decent-sized crowds. But it is that great feeling of like you have an hour, and if they're not getting you in the first 10 minutes, so what? I got 50 minutes left.
Yeah.
It's a lot less pressure. But yeah, TV is the hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, it's, like you said, 5 minutes. The way I talk, like when David Letterman, an average of 5 million people are watching it a night, the way I'd rationalize it in my head was I would say to myself, it's taped 5:30 in the afternoon and it airs at night at 11:30. But I would say to myself, while I'm doing it, millions aren't watching. There's only 500 in the studio audience. If I'm really horrible, they just won't air it. So I would never think that millions are watching because they weren't at 5:30 in the afternoon. And that helped me get through it that way.
So you literally just had to block it out of your head.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. I mean, the millions was easy to block out because it was true. They weren't watching at 5:30. So that was easy to convince myself. It was a fact.
Yeah.
But what was hard to convince myself of was, if I remember being on stage thinking, gee, you're talking right now. If you stop talking, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
I'd actually have that thought in my head as I'm up there. I'm going, my God, keep talking, keep talking. It's not a fun feeling.
No.
Because if you stop talking, what's going to happen? I mean, Letterman's watching, the studio audience is watching. Are they going to stop tape? Are they going to, I once heard a story of a comedian. I don't think he wanted me to mention his name, but he froze. He went out on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He had done it a few times before that. Walked out, froze.
This is a US comedian,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Stopped talking. They had to stop the show. He went backstage. They came to him and said, it's okay, let's do it again. And they let him do it again. He went out and did fine. But he did. That did happen to somebody.
I find it really weird when really big stand-ups bomb. I saw a recording of Live at the Apollo. I think it was Series 8. And you heard of a guy called Julian Clary?
I've heard, yes.
Yeah.
He was in Edinburgh doing an interview show.
Was he?
I was on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He bombed,
Right.
really bombed, big time. And I couldn't quite believe it because someone like Julian Clary, he's been around for years. He must have done thousands of hours of gigs. But I think it just goes to show that no matter how big you are, you still have bad nights.
Sure. Yeah, I know. Yes, you never know. Some comedian, I forgot, it was Mort Saul. Have you ever heard of him? He's Woody Allen. You've heard of Woody Allen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Who hasn't?
Right. Well, Woody Allen said he was he thought he could do stand-up because when watching Mort Saul, because Mort Saul he was the first guy, that really went up without telling mother-in-law jokes. It was the 1950s without being like, old-style comedian. He brought a newspaper up and talked about the news of the day. He was very political. So anyway, Mort Saul said, every night is different. It's like a date. You're on a date with the audience. The audience is your date. And you can't plan it out too much.
Yeah.
You have to be present in that moment.
Yeah.
And so when I talk about learning where to pause earlier, I have to adjust that statement and say it's also based on that audience you're dealing with. It's not a fixed series of where you're pausing.
Yeah.
It is a date. So that's why the date, Julian Clary had a bad date.
Yeah. I kind of feel like we're on a date now, actually.
Right. Yeah. And back to the gay, I would like to suck you off if possible.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Cost you
What?
a jelly bean. That's my cost.
A jelly bean?
A jelly bean.
Oh, I'd have to pay you a jelly bean?
Yeah, a jelly
Wait a minute,
bean.
if I'm sucking you off. Wait, can I be talking like this on air?
Yeah, it's online, so there's no rules.
Oh, there's no rule.
Yeah, you can swear if you want.
Well, you should be paying me.
I'll pay you in jelly beans.
All right. Okay. You just gave up on you're an easy negotiator. You wanted one, now you're giving one?
Well, I really want you to suck me off. That's my plan. So I'm giving you a jelly bean, so you can have a jelly bean to give to me, so you can suck me off.
Right. I don't even want to suck the jelly bean.
You just go straight to it.
No, I don't want to suck either. But if I had a choice, I think I'd rather suck you off because I'm anti-sugar right now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm afraid of diabetes. I don't think, human bodies carry that much sugar.
Oh, no, given the amount of jelly beans I've had, I think you'd run the risk of a high sugar content in my cock.
That would be the worst. I give up my heterosexuality and get diabetes or encourage diabetes.
That'd be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Did you ever struggle when you started stand-up? Was it ever hard?
No, it never was. I was always fantastic. But that's just me. Sure, yeah. I've struggled badly, But I have a weird, you're talking about, I guess, I was a spoiled brat, too. I was smothered, but also spoiled. So I remember I was thinking about this coming here, and I don't know where this entered my head, but like 5 years ago, I had a really rough gig somewhere in Pennsylvania. And the guy before me did real well, but he was very sexual, and I'm like, I have some of that stuff, but a lot of my stuff is just like thinking comedy. And back then, even 5 years ago, I'm better than now than I was then. I think I'd do better. I just didn't have the ability to make them listen to me, or whatever it was. But as usual, like half the crowd liked me, but that gig, maybe even like a quarter only. But most of them didn't. But most people would just try to get off after a while. But I stubbornly stay on, even though most of them hate me. Yeah. And I actually did too long, even though they hate me. Infuriating the club. When a crowd hates you, try to get off a little early, or just do the time. But don't go overtime, because I kept thinking maybe I can get them all back. Maybe. But there is no maybe. They hated me for a long time at this point.
Well, you're secretly wanting to punish him a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like, yes.
You. That was your plan.
Right. You're right. There's part of it's punishment too. Like if you hated me, well, here's your pain. And here's more pain for you. Yeah, but there were some people laughing. There were a few, and I was like addicted to those people. And if I can make those people grow, it's almost like trying to cure a dying person. They're terminally ill, and you're trying to cure them, but they're going to die. But you're desperately trying to get them healthy. No, they're going to die.
Dramatic. Blimey.
Right. That's a dead crowd. That's a dying crowd. Yeah. Even though there's a piece of life in them, the overwhelming mass of them was cancer, and they were dead. And I should have given up on them. So I went too long. He hated me. He wouldn't have me do the second show because I did so bad. I don't know if he paid me for the second. I don't think he did pay me for the second show, which is okay. I mean, he refused, but that was a really bad. So yeah, I've struggled and suffered, but I do have a spoiled, obstinate, like I don't want you to defeat me, thing where I will keep. I had people from buildings yelling at me when I played a college gig, and I was doing well with the people in the audience there. But up above, people were shouting me from the windows, heckling me.
From the windows? How could they see you?
The windows, it was looking down into a field. It was an outdoor show.
Oh, I see, okay.
And I was screaming at them. So I'm arguing with buildings.
How do you deal with hecklers? I heard that you do it in quite an intelligent kind of way.
Yeah, who did you hear that from?
I've just got my sources.
That's very good sources.
Yeah, there you go. I do my research.
I think I must have talked to you.
Maybe in my dream when you were sucking me off.
Right. I mean, I never thought of it that. Yeah, I mean, I like to analyze. I mean, I like to question them and analyze them. I don't do typical like put down. There's like, what's the word? When you start out comedy, you learn like typical comebacks to them. Or I'm not afraid of them really. I mean, I'm afraid if they're armed, but if they're not armed, I'd like to reason with them. And you can get a lot of laughs out of just talking to them. Why don't you like this? Or what about you? Or question. I like questioning. Like you said, interviewing. I like interviewing people. So I like interviewing them. And you can get a lot of humor out of that.
Cool. Is there any one time that really stands out for you when you did that really well?
I know, without being too egotistical, I can't really think of one time that stands out. But I'm good at that. But not so much. It doesn't stand out like we're a mean heckler. In general, I talk to the crowd well, and I question them. I can get good laughs out of it. Sometimes, if crowds are a little like, they're not ready for some of my humor in terms of like it being analytical, or they have to follow my reasoning. Yeah. I'll then change gears and talk to them. Yeah. And that can make them like me more, I think.
What's your view on the level of PC-ness, if that's a term I can use? With your stuff? I mean, do you tone things down to certain audiences, or do you say, right, here's my stuff, here's what I do, to go out there, who likes me, who doesn't? and screw them. What's your attitude? Because I know comics kind of, sometimes you get comics who really stick to their guns, like Ricky Gervais, and then you get others that will tailor their stuff to the crowd.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I'm both.
You're both. That's confusing.
Right, which means I'm neither. Right, but I'm kind of both. Sometimes I'm in that mood where I'm just, well, the thing is, I have a certain thing where I do a lot of humor on my name. Like a lot. I could do like a half hour on just my name.
Yeah, I saw a set that you did, and you were saying your name a lot.
Right. But if the crowd can't take it, if they're not going with it, I will back off.
Yeah.
But I'll try to come back a little later with it. I'll keep trying. But in the past, I've been a person sometimes that says, this is what I do, and this is it. This one comedian, Mark Maron, who's known well in America, he once said to me, I've never seen it, and he's a guy that sticks to his guns. But he said to me, Al, I've never seen anyone like you who just maniacally sticks to your guns. So there is a part of me that will, but that's almost because of anxiety. I think back then, I was too afraid to change course because I was so nervous that they weren't buying it. I was too anxious to even switch course, so I just kept going out of terror. Or also a childlike obstinacy, like this is what I do. But I kind of learned, what's the point? I mean, if they're not getting it and you just continue in your path, no one's winning. I'm not enjoying myself. They're not enjoying it. So it's really, I've kind of learned to like kind of balance a little, but still try to do what I do. That's what I like about Edinburgh, because I created this one-person show, and it was going to be the show no matter what. That's it. And it worked because these people are coming to see you, not necessarily because they knew of me, but they want to see this show, and they're more willing to listen to everything you have to say because it's your show. They're not going to a comedy club where they're conditioned to expect a certain kind of rhythm and a certain kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's good. So that was great feeling about Edinburgh because you could do just what you want, and I never had to change course once in that show. Even if they weren't getting it, it was like, well, I'm going to keep going, and you will get it. And they always did. They always ended up. I can think of one show was really rough, but it was only 11 people, and some of them were out of it and drunk, and but in comedy clubs I will compromise a bit, but I won't compromise too much.
Yeah.
I have a few jokes that are very smart, but they're accessible, but I won't do too many of them if it's too painful for me, just to win them over. I always try to come back to what I do. But there's a part of me that envies a guy, like you mentioned, Ricky. I haven't seen a lot of his stand-up, but if he just does only what he does, that's great. Or Bill Hicks was that kind of guy, I think. Yeah. But I remember, you ever hear of Andy Kaufman?
No.
He's a famous American comedian that was totally off the wall. He's known for doing a show once where he was already a star, and he performed at this college, and he just read from the phone book, the names on the phone book, for the whole show, until everyone left.
What?
Yeah, that's all he did.
What, just the phone book?
Yeah, he'd just read, Cindy Schwartz, 22386, just read the number until everyone walked out. They came to see him, and that's all he did. Because he was more of almost like a performance artist. He wouldn't even call himself a stand-up comedian. It was just to freak people out.
Yeah.
But I played this gig in Reno, and it was called Sammy's Room after Sammy Davis Jr. And they talked about Andy Kaufman played it years ago. And that he bombed the first night, and they talked to him about it, and that he adjusted his act for that room.
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman, this guy that did college, walked a room in a college, adjusted for Reno, which is like a Las Vegas kind of a thing.
Yeah.
The gamblers have short attention spans, So if Andy Kaufman can compromise, that made me realize. And then also I've done some cruise ship gigs, which I haven't done in a while. And cruise ship gigs are very tough. You have to be very simple. And I can't do them anymore because I'm too a little weird. I have much of a attitude. I'm a little too unique for them. They want the most simple kind of humor.
And I read as well that you need to be quite careful, don't you? Because you get certain age of people who are approaching death.
Right.
And when you mention your mum, it's kind of like you're talking to mums in the audience. When you mention your dad, you're talking to your dad. So didn't you say something about your mum?
Wow, who the hell talked to you? This is amazing research.
People talk to me.
That's
people
amazing.
Talk to me. And then someone came up to you and said, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I said, one of the jokes in my act is I'll talk about, fear a lot.
Yeah.
A fear of death. And then I'll pause and I'll say, I guess what I'm really trying to say here tonight is that I hate my mother. Out of nowhere, and that gets a good laugh because it's out of nowhere. I haven't spoken to her about her in the act at all. it gets a really good laugh. I got a pretty good laugh from that audience. But at the end of the show, this older guy comes up to me, "You really offended a lot of women here today by saying you hate your mother." They couldn't even appreciate the joke of it, you know? I mean, it's like they're offended. Yeah, that you hate your mother. Well, this wasn't a seminar. It was a comedy. You know?
Yeah. They knew what they were going to. It's not like they were going to like a speech or anything about parenthood.
No, I know. But yet they do go to a lot of seminars in these cruise ships. They have like these like lectures. And they know it's comedy, but still it's not a comedy club. It's a room in a cruise ship where there's a guy doing comedy. So it doesn't have that aura of comedy club and all these older people. You really have to tread the line. I think that's why ventriloquists do very well on cruise ships, because the dummy can be the dummy. The dummy can be the jerk. The dummy says all the mean things, and oh, he's a little dummy. But I'm the dummy I don't have a dummy, I'm the dummy, and they can't accept me being the dummy. It's too real for them. They need a wooden idiot to say it.
Have you thought about getting a wooden idiot?
I always thought about it.
Yeah.
One that looked just like me with my name.
And with your shows, how do you put them together? Do you take like the best bits? Have you got like some classic best bits that you always try and include, or do you just completely start from scratch with every show?
Oh no, my God, I'm not that disciplined to work that hard. And plus, I don't think that would be a good idea to do that anyway. But no, I always have certain bits that, like my name is pretty much going to be in every show, and the fact that I hate my mother will be too. Those are my two themes.
Is that because you feel obliged to your fans? You want to give them like your greatest hits?
No, I'm passionate about that material. For some reason, I like talking about my name. I think it's the narcissist in me.
Yeah.
You know, I just get a kick out of it. You know. Yeah. So I really like like I have jokes that work really well, but I don't care about them, and it's tough for me to say them because I don't really care. I like talking about my name, plus the fact that I like that I could go on and on and on about it, and it's like breaking the rules. There's some kind of rule in comedy I think I've heard that you can only do 3 jokes on a subject.
Yeah.
And on my name, I probably have like about 50. Yeah. So I like breaking a rule, and I think again maybe it relates to me being a spoiled brat. Like I broke the rules of what a child's supposed to be. So I like that. I like testing people, pushing people.
Yeah.
You know? So I like that, and then going on and on about my mother, and I think I have a legitimate anger at her. I guess I love her enough that I haven't murdered her. You know, I was thinking about that today. Like, obviously,
I'm sure she's grateful.
Right. But I'm very passionate. I still am always. It's cathartic for me to get out those jokes.
Yeah. So it's almost like therapy. You're going up, and it's like a way of releasing those tensions and everything else.
Yeah. I think it's definitely. I was thinking about this. I really don't do comedy for the audiences.
No, you do it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's better than paying. How much is it in the States to get a therapist?
Yeah. It's a lot. Well, I've gotten deals before. I've negotiated them down. I got them down to one. I think down to $35 an hour, which is pretty good. $35. But a lot of times they could be $100, $135. But I used to have a joke on that. They say comedy is therapy, and so that's why I do this. I figured because why pay for it when I can charge? And so I'm charging people for therapy.
No, that's a good way to look at it. Or you could just make yourself British and get it on the NHS.
Right.
It's all free.
Right, I know. I need to do that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah. And how do you feel, or how long does it take, do you think, until you got a bit where you really feel like it's done? Because I heard one comedian referring to jokes, and sometimes they can have a bit of a fruit-like quality to them, where over a certain period of time they'll become ripe, and then if you leave it too long, then they'll kind of start going off.
Yes, it's true. But I've learned through the years of timing, I can keep jokes working because I've learned the timing. Whereas years ago, they would start to go and they fail, and I didn't understand why. I think that's because you lose the passion for it.
Yeah.
And maybe because when you lose the passion, your timing gets screwed up because you don't pause enough during it, because you don't care about the joke that much. You want to get through it because it doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
I think when you first start doing a joke, you care about it. You probably pause correctly to explain your thought. But when you start losing passion, you don't pause as much because you're bored by it. When you don't pause, the audience can sense they're not following you, and they also can sense you don't care as much.
Yeah.
But when you learn timing, you pause correctly. And even though you still don't care, you can still make the joke work because you've learned how to pause.
Yeah.
So yes, but in general, I haven't noticed jokes just not working anymore that I've done for years because I've learned how to pause.
Yeah.
But I think the best jokes are the ones you really care about. But then also, you should become a better actor. By doing stand-up, you can learn how to be a better actor and fake caring because that makes a joke work too. fake character. I've taken acting classes. I think acting's helped me because you can act and make people. David Letterman once said he's very nervous. In fact, he's always like shaking his leg behind the desk.
Yeah.
But he's learned how to fake being comfortable.
So tell me about Seinfeld. Like, I know that you opened for the guy, and in a way he kind of took you under his wing a little bit and he gave you advice. What was the best bit of advice that he gave you?
I don't know if I've ever really rated his advice before.
Oh, really? Marks out of 10.
What advice did he give? I know I asked a lot of questions. I did ask him a lot of questions. I know I opened for him in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. But the best piece of advice, well, one thing he told me is to wait for, you're 4 years away from the Tonight Show. It turned out I was 6. I did it like 6 years after I opened for him. But I think the best piece of advice that comes to mind is just work. It's like working, doing the work. I mean, writing all the time, creating, and trying the material and at the end of the week, you'll hopefully have 2 new bits. When you work a week at a club, you'll have 2 new things. And I was really, not so much advice that he gave, but he said his big goal was to have his own 1 hour, be able to do a great 1 hour show. At that time, he had already done like 10 or 6 or 7 Tonight Shows, a few Lettermans, but he wanted to be able to put a great 1 hour together. He was headlining there 45 minutes. He already had great stuff, but I was impressed with his just pure love of stand-up. Yeah. He wasn't doing it to become a great actor or do it for other reasons. He just really loves stand-up comedy. Yeah. And he loves, I think his expression is to create something out of thin air. Like there's nothing there, and you just put some words together and you've created this joke. It's like magic, and he just really loves what he does, and that's what I think. He's great at it, but I think that's the big thing, that he loves it.
I think he also said something like a lot of comedians, stand-up comedians, do stand-up as a means to an end. But he's one of a few comics who actually just really enjoys doing it and loves going out there and gigging. That's why he still gigs. Right. Because he doesn't need to. I mean, the guy's worth millions. He can create another show if he wants to. But yeah, he just goes up and keeps getting up on stage.
I know, right. Yeah, he just truly loves it. And I think, see, for me, I think my thing is that I only love stand-up in terms of my name and hating my mother. So for me,
we're getting into your mind now, Al. I can clearly see who you are as a person.
But see, I wrote a movie which deals with, well, not just my mother is in it, but I have to figure out how to get the money to do this movie. But I want to direct it. I want to act in it. But I'd like to explore that. That's a passion of mine because it's not just about the jokes. It's about creating, a world. I'd like to do that too. So for me, it's not just stand-up. But I'm not doing stand-up for the purposes of doing something. I really do like it. I love the attention. It is a cathartic, and if I go a few days without doing it, I don't feel so good.
Do you have withdrawal from being on the stage?
I don't know what it is. It's just I guess it is. I don't know why, but I do feel like uncomfortable. Although I've gone before like a month without doing it. But I was getting kind of depressed.
Really?
Yeah, I was down in Florida visiting my mother, actually, ironically, and there's a lot of, it was just too hard to get up at clubs in the area, and I didn't like the crowds, and so for like a month I didn't do anything.
Does your mum come to your shows?
She has, and she likes it, but she'll be like, "Alan, you need to start stronger, Alan. Start with a bang. Start with a bang," And I don't like starting with a bang because then you have to keep the bang going. Yeah. And it's too much. I like starting slow and slowly growing on people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like cancer.
Oh, good. Never really looked at it like that. Stand-up, cancer, the comparisons. And what's your favourite bit by another comedian? Like, is there like one bit that always jumps into your head, which was done by another comedian?
I feel bad. There has been over the years, but nothing's jumping in my head now. But there have been great. But nothing, as I ask my head to let something leap, nothing is hitting my head. Although when you brought up Seinfeld, now Seinfeld's in my head. I do remember one thing I liked, that I really liked from his thing. He had a joke about how, when your car breaks down on the highway, you open up the hood to see what's wrong, but like you have any chance of fixing the car, you don't know how to fix a car, you don't know what to do. Like, you have to hope there's like a giant on-off switch, on-off, It always amused me. Because that's like easy to fix,
Yeah.
But there is no such on-off switch on-off. But I always liked that joke. He did that on the first ever set he did on The Tonight Show. And I remember Ringo Starr was the guest before him. I'm trying to bring in the British influence.
That's a very Al Lubel version of a Seinfeld joke. He really Al Lubel that joke.
Did that, you think?
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it that much differently than me. Because I think I have his timing on that. A giant on-off switch, on-off. That's true. That would be Seinfeld.
That's quite Seinfeld. Yeah. And do you subscribe to what Seinfeld does with regards to just swearing at all? Like, he never swears.
I know.
At all.
I guess I do. I don't swear at all. But occasionally, if a heckler pisses me off, I might throw it in. But I caught on to that. Yeah, well, see, he told me the reason he never swears, his goal was always to get on The Tonight Show. And to keep doing it. And he just wanted to know what works, what material works. So he would never throw fuck in because fuck can help a joke. It really can help the punchline, saying fuck. So he wanted to know if it was funny on its own. And I agree with that. I always wanted to know the joke was good without the fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never threw. When I first started out, I had a joke that had fuck in the punchline, and I took it out. So that way he did influence me. I never, But I have talked about sexual. I can talk about sexual things. I've said the word dick, but I really like the joke.
Yeah.
But it needs the word dick. But it's the fact dick is the subject of the joke. It's a big. But I don't mind it because I find it a smart joke.
Yeah.
So, whereas I don't think he'll talk about sexually graphic things like that. I don't think he does that at all.
Not at all.
He didn't. Yeah, but I will do that because I just, for a while I took that stuff out and I thought, well, that's not me. I think about these things and I don't ever want to try to get on The Tonight Show with this material anyway. But I think it's funny and I will do it.
Is there anything you won't talk about?
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, very good. You got me. I know that you graduated law school, and then you went from there on to being a comedian. You actually practiced in law for a bit, and then you just said, right, I'm going to switch. Your mum must have been pissed, because that must have cost you, what, tens of thousands of pounds to get that degree?
No, not that much. Actually, I had like a partial scholarship because I was president of student government in college my senior year. So somehow, I went to law school. Somehow I got a scholarship to work in the dean's office while I was in law school. So it paid for a lot of the tuition, But it wasn't so much the money I did have to spend. It came from her, not me. But yeah, but it wasn't the money. I think she was pissed off. She really wanted me to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
But I think the only reason I quit the law was just to upset her. I really wanted to be a lawyer, but the thought of upsetting her was too much for me. I had to do it.
You had to do it.
That was the only reason I quit. To this day, I would desperately want to be a lawyer, but I refuse to do it while she's alive because it might make her happy. No, I'm joking.
That's kind of evil. Why am I laughing?
No, I'm joking. But yeah, it did upset her. But so, I mean, yeah, but I didn't. That wasn't going to stop me. I didn't want to. When law school was done and I passed the Florida bar and then I took the California bar because I moved to California. I wanted to try comedy, but I figured I'd be a lawyer out there and try it. After 2 bar exams in law school, I had enough of law. But I did it for 2 years part-time, but I didn't like it, really.
Your peers must have thought you were nuts going to stand-up.
I didn't have that many peers. I mean, I worked for a small-town lawyer, and they thought I was kind of weird. But, yeah, what are you doing? It's all about money. What are you doing? You invested all this time in law school. Money, money, money. I didn't really care about money, I probably should have. But I didn't really want a fancy car. These things didn't really interest me. I was too childish. I was always into playing basketball or, that kind of thing. So it wasn't hard for me to give. And plus, you don't have to give in your license. I'm still on the inactive list. I pay small dues so if I ever want to become a lawyer, I can be a lawyer, but I just have to be very inactive. No, I'm joking. No, I have to then go onto the active list. But
that's really bizarre because I do find that there are a few comedians in America who do kind of keep their old careers alive in one way. We interviewed Ken Jeong from Hangover movies, who's Mr. Chow, and he's still
was
a licensed.
He a doctor or something?
Yeah, he's still a licensed doctor, and he pays his doctor fees every year, so he can still.
It's a hard thing to end. I mean, it's a hard thing to say I'm not this anymore. I mean, I don't think of myself as a lawyer. But I guess I sometimes think, what if I ever want to do it again? Well, I know there's no way I'm going to go to law school again.
Uh-huh.
You know, so why not keep it?
Yeah.
The dues are like, I think, $90 a year. It's not that much to spend. Just to
So
keep it
if you
alive.
stopped your subscription or didn't pay it, would that mean that you just couldn't get back into it again? Is that how it would work?
Yeah, I think I'd have to maybe take well, since I did graduate law school, that would stick. I'd have to take the bar exam again. That's all it means. But, you know, you got to really study hard, and I probably wouldn't do that. In fact, I did give up my Florida law license. I was also a member of the bar, and for years I paid those dues. And then a couple years ago I said, screw this. So that means if I ever wanted to practice in Florida, I have to take the bar exam again. And it was really hard for me to quit that but I did. I gave up. I just didn't want to keep paying the money for Florida. So I'm just a lawyer in California.
Yeah. But it worked out, you know, with your move, because within a year you won a Star Search, which is kind of like an American version of, well, it's kind of like America's Got Talent, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it was more than a year. It was about like 3 years after quitting
3 years.
law school. But yeah, I did win the Star Search thing. Yeah, back in '88. Yeah.
And what happened to the money that you won? Because you won what, $100,000? Did you just spank it?
100,000. But what happened? That money I didn't use. I ended up a couple years buying a house with a friend, and then the house went down in value, and then I gave up the house. So I ended up losing it in a house. So I didn't really get to spend much of it.
Okay. And you once said that comedy is like sex, because you need foreplay. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, like I said earlier about like a date, you know, you're on a date with the audience. And I don't know if I did say, it sounds like I said that, but I don't know if maybe it was the correct thing to say. But I do think there is truth to it in the sense that you just can't come right out and fuck the audience.
You just can't put your dick in there until they're wet.
Right, yeah, you really have to let them get to know you a little and play around with them. You don't want to do your best. I remember a comedian once noticed, he watched this headliner comedian when we first started out, and he said, I always watch to see when he does his strongest bit. He had a bit about surfing. He said, when does he do it? And he usually did it like, you know, about 10 minutes in. Because if you open with it, it's not going to get the same reaction because they don't know you yet. So you want to save it for a moment where they already kind of like you, and this is the time it will kill. So you do need foreplay before. Otherwise, you're raping the audience.
Yeah, you don't want to rape anyone. You want to flick the bee and get them interested. So Al, tell me about your tour. What you're doing in the UK at the moment? Because you're here for what, eight months?
Right. I'm here for 8 months, and it's sort of like I like to think of this as the American invasion. Because America had the British invasion. I am America's version of the Beatles.
Okay.
But I think
not an ego at all, no. Just compare yourself to the best band ever.
Right, and then, well, actually, I'm a little better because it took 4 of them to do that.
And there's only one of you.
I'm only at the Al Lubel. I'm everything. And but whereas they had Beatlemania, I'm more like an Al Lubel depression. I created depression, I think. And so whereas they had like these young girls chasing after them, I have like
people jumping off of cliffs and slashing their
throats, you know, as they race after me. That's the image in my head as they chase me, as they slash their throat. And I like that combination. They want me, yet they're killing themselves.
Yeah, nice, but messy and weird. And what you got coming up in the pipeline? I know you mentioned a film, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to figure, I'm not a businessman, I don't know how to raise money, and I'm not any of that kind of stuff. So, but I wrote this movie, I'd like to do it, but who knows, you know, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I'm playing these clubs all around Britain, and I'm going next week to Switzerland, playing like Zurich. How do you say Zurich or Zurich?
Zurich. Is it Zurich? Zurich.
Zurich. It's not even Zurich, it's
Zurich.
Zurich.
Yeah.
Zurich?
Yeah.
Wow, I pronounced it wrong in every way.
How did you say it again?
I said Zurich. So I pronounced every
That sounds like a vaginal cream, doesn't it?
Right.
That's a weird pronunciation of it.
Right. I'm reading a book about Albert Einstein, and he taught at Zurich. Zurich?
Yeah,
Zurich?
The Institute for Vaginal Cream, that's where he taught.
But yeah, I'm going to play there, and then I'm going to go to do some gig in Paris and Brussels. So it's not just, so the Al Lubel invasion is throughout Europe. And maybe
all in English, or you could try a different language? Like
no, I know. I don't even do English that well. I'm working on.
Yeah, I've already heard. Search. It's a weird word.
Yeah, it's amazing that he does 3 languages. I'd like to see him do like a joke and progress from one language to the other within a joke. Like started in German, then go to French, and then the punchline in English. That would be truly amazing.
God, it's like you don't ask for much, do you? That's pretty hard.
for an audience that can speak all those 3 languages.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That'd be great.
I wish I had more in the pipeline. How many things should be in a pipeline?
About 3.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're 2 off
I
for
only
3.
have 1 thing in a pipeline.
Yeah.
I only have 1 in a pipeline. I'm depressed about that.
Well, you got 2, so don't be too hard on yourself. A film's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but you said there should be 3 things.
Should be 3.
So I'm missing 2 things.
Well, you're missing 1 because you got your stand-up.
I got
that's
my
going on.
stand-up.
Yeah.
Right, and then
A film.
a film. Yeah, you are missing 1. Maybe it's good to be missing 1.
Yeah.
To be yearning after something.
Yeah. What can we fill it with?
I would like to be an interviewer myself.
Yeah.
Does that threaten you?
Not really. Do you want someone to interview?
Yes. Who? You?
No, we're going to say. I just pressed the button.
Oh, the Romanian?
Yeah. Have you not seen this? This is.
Okay, I'll interview. Can I interview her a little? I'd like
We'll ask her.
Okay.
She sits there.
I don't know. I've
On your lap?
I haven't really thought about this at all.
We'll just cut straight off. We'll be like, what's going on?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll give that a go.
Okay, would we? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Her name's Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, okay.
Yeah. She might totally not be up for this. So we might need to cut this
We
altogether.
won't even say like what's going on. We'll just
Yeah.
like sit down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
She wants that.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Oh, you buzzed it. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I
you
buzzed it. Hi, Gabrielle. Do you mind just taking your seat here, please, for a second?
Thanks.
This is Al Lubel, he's a famous American comedian.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
One of the best in the world.
Thank you. I'm one of the.
And he would like to be an interviewer. And he'd like to ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm one of those, by the way, famous people that you've never heard of or seen. Well, you might have seen me, but you might not remember have seen me. To your knowledge, you've never seen me, correct?
Actually, I don't see you, or I don't remember.
Right. You either have never seen me or you don't remember having seen me.
Actually, I don't remember.
You don't remember.
Yeah,
You don't remember whether you saw me or not.
I don't remember.
Right. Had you ever heard my name before?
No.
No. So when he said to you, "I'm famous," inside you laughed.
No, actually, I don't feel nothing.
Right. Yeah. Actually, you don't feel laughing.
Break the ice a little bit more. Break the ice. Break the ice.
Break that. Okay. But your name is Gabrielle.
Yeah.
That rhymes with Al Lubel. My name is Al Lubel.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, but your name is actually Gabriella.
It's Gabriella.
Gabriella. So it doesn't really completely rhyme with Al Lubel.
Yeah. No.
Sometimes people call me Al Lubella. So that name.
Ask questions about her,
Oh, right.
not about you. This
Okay.
is not going well. She's tense.
Okay. Your name is Gabriella.
Okay,
And you-
can we stop?
Okay. Well, this is depressing. My first guest has to leave.
Yeah.
No, I understand. You're working. You're not really a guest. You're working.
Yeah, actually, I'm working. Yeah, so
I
if I
know.
can help you with something.
Can I
no,
pay you to stay?
How much would you pay?
It's not about this.
£1.
No, actually, it's not about the money or something
It's
like
about
this.
you have
but,
a previous
I'm not very
obligation.
confident in when I
No.
see a camera, so it's quite.
No, I say you have a previous obligation.
Yeah.
Do you
it's true,
realize that I'm famous?
but- No, I'm not realizing.
No.
Really, I don't
No,
want
I
to be
understand.
rude, but
No, I understand.
She
You have
needs to go. She needs to go.
You-
Marks out of
it's your
10 for his interviewing technique. What would you give him? Marks out of 10.
let's say a 9.
9. You're generous. I would have given him a 3.
Really?
So
turn.
Why?
that wasn't very good, was it?
No, actually, I was surprised because I don't know what actually you want from me.
Oh, okay.
So it's like this.
I just wanted to. I'm a hurt. Only a 3.
A 3. Yeah.
Really? But you didn't like the humor? I developed a little rapport with humor.
She seemed quite tense throughout the duration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're supposed to tell me, for the beginning what actually you want
That's
from me,
why.
no?
So it was a
I would
situation.
tell.
Oh, it's all my fault all of a sudden. Blame the interviewer.
Right, blame the messenger. But it was right. It wasn't she didn't know what was happening.
She didn't. I did well, I think. Jumping
You
into
did- you
the
did
jumping
well.
into
In fact, you're staying longer for this section than the interview.
yeah.
Yeah, you see? I'm not tense. No, I understand what's happening. So it's something different.
She's relaxed. My job's done. That's why I stepped in. Do you want to continue the interview?
No, actually, my English is not so good to make an interview with you. So it's gonna be annoying for you because I will not laugh for your
No,
jokes.
that's okay because I'm one of those interviewers. I don't care what you say.
Okay, so if you don't care what I say, then it's okay for me.
Because I don't listen to the answer. I just listen to my question.
Okay, so I don't listen to your question, so it's gonna be okay for us now.
Perfect. Yeah.
This is great. You continue. I get to be here.
So how long have you worked here?
Almost six months, yeah.
6 months. And what did you do before this?
The same thing, but in another hotel.
And why did you come here then?
To change the decor and the people.
To change, you came here with a mission?
Not really, you know, I just want to see.
You wanted something different?
Yeah.
You were bored with the other hotel?
Let's say, yeah.
A little bored. What was boring you? How long had you been there?
Almost 2 years.
2 years. And was specifically something about that hotel or just 2 years anywhere would bore you?
No, I think the hotel.
What was wrong with the hotel? And the name
same
of
people?
it? And the what?
No, I will not say the name.
You will not say the name, but what type of people? The people bored you?
Yeah.
It was probably a wealthy group of people.
Actually, it was the same nationality like me, so again, I will not say
right.
nationality, so I'm bored to this kind of people, so I want to try something different.
Oh, different nationalities.
Yeah.
So it was a hotel that specialized in a certain nationality?
Not really. I think all the hotels are the same, so.
You mean a lot of hotels have the same type of nationality?
Yeah. No, you know.
Same type of people came to that hotel,
Yeah.
and they were your nationality,
Yeah.
and but you wanted different types of people.
Yeah.
And this hotel has different types of nationality?
Yeah, and it's also, you know, offer another prospects, and also, you know, I'm doing another thing, like I'm working like meeting and events, but I'm on meetings, people, I'm supervisor, so I'm, you know, like in the first line.
You're setting up meetings, like where the businesses come and have meetings?
No, actually I'm working on the operation, so when the people arrive, I'm go and I'm like a guest for you, so it's...
You're like a gift for them? Oh, what?
Yeah, like a gift.
Try and ramp it up a little bit. Maybe like embarrassing stories.
Oh, I don't want this to be entertaining.
Oh, you don't want it? You want it to be depressing?
Not depressing,
Or just
but
straight?
Informational.
Informational.
But I realize I could sense it could be getting boring.
A little bit.
But
Kind of slapping myself a bit behind the camera.
But the one question I have is, but if sometimes it could lead to something. My one little question is, you're setting up meetings, did you say? No, what are you doing? You're setting up meetings?
No, I'm not setting meetings, you know, because the meetings are already set.
Yeah, so what do you do?
Actually, I'm the supervisor, so I'm supervising like meetings to be good. You know, like when you come and you have a meeting, everything should be okay.
Right, everything's planned, things are working the way they are.
Yeah.
And why do you like that kind of work?
Because
What do you get out
I
of that?
meet people, new people, and it's like a new challenger for me.
And what do you like about meeting new people?
I don't know. You know, it's like a challenge for me. You know, because it's to the end of the day, everything has to be okay.
Right, it's a challenge to make things work well.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, I can see your point. It's really going nowhere.
They need to do what works. They need to do a wrap up because we're running out of tape.
Okay,
So how you want to do it? You want to lead to like some kind of conclusion and then.
Right. Okay, I
play.
think you should, from what I sense is you should continue on the path you're on. I think you like your work, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You seem like you have a healthy self-esteem. I don't sense you go to a psychologist. You don't go to a psychiatrist? I
No.
sense you've never been to one. I sense you're a person that knows what you kind of have a sense of what you like.
Yeah.
You're doing it, and you don't have many major issues. I don't think you have a lot of personal baggage, problems,
Probably. if
sadnesses, depressions. I don't think so.
No, I don't have something like this because I know what I want in my life, so it's quite, you know.
How do you think? I bet you had healthy parents. Yeah, I bet your parents, no one had mental illness.
Yeah. So a wrap up. Yeah. Kind of means you try and finish it. So yeah, I'll leave you at that.
Okay. So anyway, I want to thank you for coming. My boss says I need to go, so I need to go. I want to thank you, and I hope to interview you again, and I hope someday to have your mental health. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Gabrielle, thank you very much. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
It picked up.
I did. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. And you were right. You could sense that she ended up staying, so she did have the time.
Yeah.
I had made her tense where she wanted to leave.
She was like that. She was
Right.
like.
I didn't even pick that up.
No.
I can see you have the talent for this.
Yeah, see, it's like a date. I get it now. I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, because she was not gonna go near your dick.
Yeah, and I didn't even notice that.
No.
But you noticed it. That's great. And then because she lied, she's a fucking liar. She lied.
Why is she a liar?
Well, she lied. She said she had to go. She has a job. She has to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
But in reality, she didn't have to go.
She had time.
You made her relaxed, and she was able to stay. So she
God.
lied because so she does have psychological issues.
If in all fairness, if I was her, I'd lie as well. I'd lie to get out of an interview that I just got kind of pushed into.
Yeah, I see. Right, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I guess it was my anxiety. I guess I had some anxiety, so that's why I was questioning her so much up front. Too many
Yeah.
questions, right? Too much of a barrage of questions.
You just want to ease it in.
You want to ease exactly. And I told, like I told you in stand-up, I try to ease in, but here, I guess my anxiety made me try too hard. But so I've learned something. Thank you.
That's all right. I'm glad it's been in education.
Yeah, maybe I could always be an interviewer with you always instructing me.
Over your shoulder.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
the
I'm kind of busy. But
Right.
in spirit, I'll be
Yeah.
there. I'll
Right.
make a little badge and you can press it.
right.
Yeah, and every time you press it, I'll be
Or
like,
maybe the thing. I could press the thing instead of her. You come
yeah, that's it, exactly.
Right.
But into your head.
into my head.
Yeah, because I'm
Telling
not
me what
following
to
you
do.
around.
Right, because you have other goals than just helping me.
One or two.
Right.
One or two.
In the pipeline.
In the pipeline, exactly. Got 4 in the pipeline. But Al, thank you so much, man,
Thank
and
you.
best of luck with the tour.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.